In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the battery on this Nissan Altima, located right behind your driver's side headlight, so let's get started. Looking under the hood, behind the driver's side headlight, you'll see the battery located right here. And before we start taking anything else apart, I like to disconnect the negative battery terminal. That way we isolate the electrical circuits and disconnect power to all of them. The negative battery terminal will be closest to the bumper cover, and you'll need a 10mm socket or wrench to remove this mounting nut, or loosen it up at least. You don't have to remove it completely, in order to pull the terminal off. There we go. As you can see, the terminal opened up a little bit. Now we can lift it up and off and set it aside right here where it cannot bounce back and make connection. On the other side of the battery hold down, you'll see the positive terminal, which is held on also with a 10mm mounting nut. Loosen this one up as well. You don't need to loosen it up a lot. Wiggle the terminal. This one has the main fuse built into it, so it is a lot bigger. Take it off and set it aside. On the other side of the battery, you'll see that this little bracket here bolts on with a 10mm bolt here and a 10mm mounting nut on the battery hold down. This is just a bracket that connects the hold down to the bracket that holds the engine computer in place. So although you don't have to completely remove this, you would just have to loosen it. I'm going to remove both this and the mounting nut and get this bracket completely out of my way. Two 10mm mounting nuts hold the battery hold down in place. My J-hook on this side is quite bent, so I'll see what I can do about that to fix it. Regardless, yours should be straight up like this one, and you will need a 10mm deep socket to access these. You could potentially do it with a wrench, but with a wrench you might have limited mobility just because of things that would get in the way. Remove these mounting nuts completely. And now pull the battery hold down right up. These batteries are heavy, so hopefully yours has a handle that's built into it. Mine looks like it flips up right here. I'm going to take it, lift it straight up, and there's your battery. Make sure the negative battery terminal is out of the way if it fell down, and drop in your new battery. Obviously make sure it's not facing the other way so that you can connect the two terminals again. First, let's get the hold down bracket in place. Remember which direction it went in with this stud towards the computer side so that we can bolt on this other bracket. I did manage to straighten out this J-hook right here. This is what these are called, or J-bolt, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's got a hook on the bottom, and that's why they're called that. I'm going to reinstall the mounting nut on both sides. Now you want to snug these down, and you want to make sure you don't crush the battery. So as soon as this starts putting pressure on it, stop tightening. It just needs to hold it in place and prevent it from moving around. It doesn't need to put a lot of pressure on it. Nope, too far. Make sure you tighten them evenly. Okay. All right, this is putting even pressure. I can see that it's not crushing the battery on either side, so I know I'm good. Let's put this bracket back in place. I prefer to tighten up the mounting nut first, that way it's seated all the way down. And then the bolt. I'm just going to double check these by hand. Once they bottom out, at most 1/8 of a turn is all you need. You don't want to break these or strip out the threads. Let's reconnect the positive battery terminal. Make sure it's not full of corrosion or debris. Slide it down all the way onto the battery post. And with that same tool you use to remove it, 10mm wrench or socket, snug up the mounting nut. And all you have to do is tighten it up until you can no longer spin it by hand. If you can't twist this, it's plenty tight. You don't need to continue tightening until this mounting nut stops spinning. That would be over tightened and it would stretch the terminal and damage it. So over time, it will not make a good connection anymore. If you have a plastic cap that covers this, reinstall that. Mine did not. Now reinstall the negative battery terminal. But when you connect it to the battery, keep in mind that it may cause a spark. So be ready to just drop it down all the way, and don't be scared of any sparks that might happen. And tighten it down until you can see a little bit of pressure on the terminal. You want to make sure you can't spin it by hand. That's how you know you have a good connection. On this negative battery terminal, sometimes there is a cap, so reinstall it if that's the case for you. And there you have it, job is done.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.